how cool would it be if we just had this experience where it was essentially this community event where we kind of took the time to vet our vendors, vet those that we really think align with our mission, and what would that look like just to create an event and a movement to support that.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the First Optimal Podcast. This is chatting with Amy here. Excuse me, got a little frog in my throat there, but really excited to have her on because she is a unique guest. So she started the Women's Sports and Health Expo so pretty excited to have Amy on. She takes time out of her busy schedule. She's got a huge event coming up in just a couple weeks here in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, that First Optimal will be at and be a part of. So we're excited for that. But thanks for joining us, Amy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So yeah, just for the audience, everyone listening, audio or video, we'll have a bunch of links and information in the show notes. So we know probably be some thoughts will be popping in your mind, or you might want to figure out more about the Women's Sports and Health Expo. So what I really like too is there's some really good like women's expos out there, but I haven't found a lot that really just crush it in like the health and sport kind of category. So pumped to, it'll be our first one that you guys run to be at, but we're really pumped because it sounds like a lot of fun. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. I think, there's a lot of different expos out there for sure. They all have their time and place. We're here to just champion all of them. And for us, we're just unique in the sense that our highlight is health, wellness, fitness, sport. And so we're really excited to delve into that.
Yeah, no, and I want to get into the event because I have a ton of questions. Even though you've already been gracious enough to over-explain it multiple times, send me emails, all that. Okay. There's still, but the thing is, the reason why I have a ton of questions is partially my fault, but the other part is because there's so much fun, cool stuff going on. So, if you ask my team or my wife, she would say, because you weren't paying attention, that's why you have so many questions. But,
no worries.
Comes with the title of husband, right? And,
yes.
So it's all good. But yeah, so with that, I thought it would be really interesting first, though, to jump into. It's such a specific, at least from my point of view, like a really specific event, very targeted, very well thought out. So I have to imagine there was a journey here to get to this landing point. Yeah. I'm sure you're pretty excited as it's been building a lot of momentum. But can you tell the audience out there, like, how did you first get into this? Yeah. What's the inspiration behind it? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So this is our second annual. So we did have one in 2025. So we're really excited about this one. Kind of the background story. So this was all, it all kind of came to head through conversations that we were having in the office. We really wanted to, the global company that I work for is called Sports Stats, and we do endurance timing and data management. And kind of through some just organic vulnerability between me and my coworker, Robin, we were just talking about the ups and downs that women face, that girls face when it comes to health and wellness and our body ever changing. And, her and I are in different stages of life right now. And so we were just kind of talking about that, and we were like, yeah, how cool would it be if we just had this experience where it was essentially this community event where there's so many resources out there right now and there's so much information that it's almost too much sometimes. So what if we created this space that we kind of took the time to vet our vendors, vet those that we really think align with our mission, and what would that look like just to create an event and a movement to support that? Because there really are celebrations, there's challenges, there's all these things that girls face from the young ages of 5, 6, 7, all the way up. And so it is kind of a large span. But we know that, partnering with you guys and just having those resources for people, and knowing that it's something that we believe, like by vetting our vendors, we know and trust you guys. And so for us, it just gives us that confidence. And I think for us, it was just really about being vulnerable with each other. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. And we're really excited to see where it's gone and where it's going. So.
Yeah, no, that's, that's great. And for just kind of looking back, like what are some, when you're first trying to get this off ground, because I think there's a lot of people, listening to this maybe it's something else in life. Maybe it's like a
Mhm.
parallel thing. Maybe they're a coach or a trainer, or they're helping
Yeah.
other women, or maybe even men, try to take a step in their pursuit of a healthier life.
Yeah.
They're trying to help encourage others, I should say, take that step.
Mhm.
So I'm curious along the way, because I we all like to we all, meaning the people watching from the outside, like to think it's an overnight success, or
Yeah.
it's easy, like that Amy, she's got it made, it's super easy,
Yeah.
she just shows up and all these people show up and it's just this great
Yeah.
event. So I'm curious to share with the audience out there, just like, what are some, some obstacles when
Mhm.
you're trying, and selfishly I want to ask too, because I
Yeah.
have some some ideas I'll probably pitch later, but
Awesome.
about the optimal expo. So that's kind of something we
Yeah.
have a lot of, partners across the US, and we've been talking to
Great.
them and about getting us all together and doing some cool stuff. But
Yeah.
all that being said, I guess I'm being a little long-winded. I should get to the point of my question, which
That's okay.
is, can you share some obstacles along the way, or
Mhm.
maybe some doubts you had, or someone in your
Yeah.
office had, like, hey, I don't know if this thing's gonna get going here.
Yeah, I think for us, we've known that this is a good mission, but like you said, that doesn't take it to the finish line. So for us, it was some obstacles we had where people just um, because right now there is so much information out there that it's like, well, why can't we just go online for this, or why can't we just go talk to my doctor? And it's like, I think for us, it was just, yes, that's great and all, but there's so many other resources, and maybe something that you're not even experiencing quite yet, that you might experience down the road. And I think, when you're talking about some um, challenges that we faced, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just selling the idea of it, because especially the first year,
Yeah,
it hadn't been done yet. We had this picture of what the expo would look like and what this community thing would be, but people are like, yeah, well, let me wait until year 2, year 3, year 4, which,
sure.
what, I get. And so that was kind of the biggest thing, is just being like, just come and see the first year. We were so confident, and we still are. We know that this mission is to our core. We believe in it. We know that there's space for it. And it's just kind of getting other people on board. Again, it's not because people don't appreciate the mission. I think it's more to do with us pulling it off in their eyes, in
Sure.
air quotes, pulling it off. So we did have some people kind of keep us at arm's length, like, yeah, maybe prove yourself first, and then we'll support. And again, not batting those people, because I get it. At some point, it is a business. But I think for us, that was probably the biggest thing, is just getting people to proving those people right, that
Yeah.
yes, this is going to grow. This is going to be um, valuable to the community.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and I have
Mhm.
a ton of follow-up questions, because I'll
Yeah,
probably have a few
please.
squirrel moments, so excuse me,
That's
but
okay. I'm
I I think
here for it.
the goal is to have our 10 and 13-year-old daughters out there, but I believe one of them has a sporting event.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's
Mhm.
my wife's driving them back halfway through the expo,
Logistics.
or is it the night before, then coming the morning? I don't know.
Okay.
We both have, like, obviously the Google Calendar and sharing, because we have
Oh,
2
yeah.
kids in travel, sports, the
Mhm.
business, events.
Mhm.
We both like to obviously stay healthy and active too, so it's like kinda all over the place. But all that being said, like, what would you
Mhm.
say is, like, all ages? Like, I'll pull
Yeah.
some examples, but would you say like 10,
Mhm.
13-year-old, 8-year-old, say, like,
Yeah.
young
It's
girls, is it welcoming to them too, or?
Yeah, I think that was a surprise for a lot of attendees last year, was they realized it was family friendly, because
Yeah.
we have one of the things is, yes, we have our vendor village. So we'll have, such as yourself, we'll have the First Optimal, we'll have, other vendors there. But one thing that we really encourage from our vendors, and also just we have physical activities for people to do, because we want it to be hands-on. We really want it to be something that people can experience. It's not just you walk up and down the aisles. It's you're really engaging with these people in the community in a physical aspect. There's a turf field, there's a 40-yard dash that's seen right there, pickleball
Yep.
court,
Yeah.
so I think for us, it is just a family friendly event. And so absolutely, we encourage all ages. And yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had and some fun things this year coming up. Talking about the hands-on stuff, we've got golf again, but we have a curling sheet. Grand Rapids Curling is going to come, and you can try out curling for the first time. Pickleball court. And yeah, there's just a whole handful of fun stuff to do. So very family friendly.
Yeah, no, I will say, because just it's so unique that we were talking before, you go to an expo and it's like, hey, here's your booth, do your deal, try to, try to engage the best you can.
Mhm.
And we were a little late in the game to come up with interactive stuff because we were so used to the traditional style, which I think is great that you're doing it.
Yeah.
So we're excited for future events you guys do too, because
Yeah.
I think that engagement piece just helps bring it to life more and get people to kind of wrap their head around the actual application. Plus, you're talking health, talking wellness, like fitness, sport, all those things. It's kind of cool to get in there and mix it up a little bit, have some fun. So
yeah.
any, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think the biggest thing for us is we encourage, again, it's a family friendly event, but it's to our core. We just want to meet people where they are. So even if you're not on a health and wellness journey quite yet, but you're interested or you have questions, like we encourage you to come. You don't have to be a marathoner or a sports athlete or anything like that. We want people to come as they are and meet people in that spot, even if you feel stuck, anything like that. We really want to encourage that too.
Oh, that's great. And just kind of talking about the event itself, I want to get into a little bit of the mindset, like in case there's like women out there or maybe men listening and they're thinking of their women in their family or significant others, etc. Like when you reflect on the event last year, like what was some of the tone of women coming in that are looking for solutions, or looking for a place to expand their athletic endeavors, to get active, to get healthier? Like what was the vibe? What was the feel when they, from the women coming to the expo?
I would say, and I'm biased, but I would say it was a really good vibe, like an uplifting vibe, an encouraging vibe. We actually had one of our partners, from previous partnerships. So he wasn't even involved in the expo that year, but he just came as a friendly. And he made a comment to us after the event, and he said, you know what? I think that this event has the potential to really be kind of a pivotal moment where, because of for lack of a better term, the vibe or the feel or, the atmosphere was such that it created a sense of belonging and a sense of, okay, I'm not alone. And that's really hard to do. You can't just write that on paper and say, I want this event to feel like such and such. Again, that's people coming in with their own stuff. Everybody has weights. Everybody's got, burdens and whatever that looks like. But it's hard to do, but we just really tried to put our personality and our heart into it. And so I hope that that's how it was reflected. We did get some great feedback from that. And I just really, really hope that that's going to be year 2 as well.
Yeah. And I think, this is for men too, right? But like men, women, I think there's some overlap that is going to work for both audiences, but specifically with women in this case, you are traditionally, we all have our own egos inside of us. We all have our insecurities. We all have the things that we're concerned with. But I think when you put in an expo that's so specific and a lot of like-minded people with entertaining activities, I think it's a nice blend to kind of open up and break those barriers down and, get people talking, like you said, creating community, getting involved. As far as some of like the fun icebreaker type events and engagement stuff, what are some things that you guys did last year that really worked well for that?
Are you saying in the sense of kind of getting people to feel comfortable and
was it challenging women to run a 40-yard dash? Was it a different breakout? Like what are some of the highlights?
Highlights from last year, man? I would say people loved the 40-yard dash just because Well, some people liked it because we have an LED screen, so it's all
Okay,
laser timed. And then we have an LED screen that will put your name and your time on there. Some people
nice.
loved it, some people didn't. So run at your own risk. But yeah, the pickleball court was amazing. We actually had we had First Tee of West Michigan come with some golf stuff. We had one of our other partners, it was funny. They had a dead hang challenge and people
Nice.
just loved that just to kind of see. We had some amazing speakers, really. They were talking about it was a wide range. We had eating disorders, we had menopause, iron deficiency, NIL. We had an attorney come in to talk about NIL. And so some of those things are still going to be this year, but we're changing a couple things that we're really excited about. But honestly, a highlight, I don't think I could pinpoint one. I
Yeah.
mean, we had so many awesome partners,
Yeah.
really.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
What are some of the like just common
Yeah.
goals that may be overheard? Obviously, you're working the event, your team's working the event, you're
Mhm.
talking to women. A lot of
Yeah.
confusion out there, have
Yeah.
it be social media, what's being advertised, probably best of intentions if you're being
Mhm.
charitable and just saying, hey, everyone has best of intentions at promoting something to
Yeah.
help in women's health. But there's definitely a movement last 5-6 years in that space
Mhm.
and focusing more on specifically women's health. But
Yeah.
there's also a lot of you know, maybe misinformation, like I said, maybe
Mhm.
even unintentional.
Yeah.
So what are some of those like questions that maybe you guys are getting that women are showing up at these events and
Mhm.
what's the confusion? Like if we tackle the confusion piece first, like what are things that maybe they're bringing in and you or your team or your vendors are like, oh man, let's help clarify that. Like this is really causing some stress for this person.
Mhm. I would say the way that I kind of look at it as if somebody does come with specific questions or confusion, I think you and I can both agree that every body is different and everybody comes with their own issues.
Sure.
And so to have a first optimal or to have some sort of partner that looks at the body as an individual as opposed to just a generality, I
Yeah.
think is honestly the most important thing because everybody has, like I said, different issues, different, whatever it may be. I think that's the biggest thing is realizing that you are not the same as the person next to you and your path is going to look different.
Yeah.
And good, bad, ugly, and whatever it looks like, it's going to be different. And I think putting that out there because everybody's like, you see the reels on Instagram, you see the stuff on Facebook. Oh, well, so and so is doing this. I should probably do that. Or this influencer is doing this. Yeah, but you have no idea what challenges they face in their body personally. You have no idea, what their labs look like. Of course not. But
Right.
so that's kind of where you lean into the professionalism of looking at each person as an individual. And that, you might be like, yeah, of course, Amy, everyone does that. Not necessarily, because right now we're looking at social media as such a wide scope as a person, but I don't fit in the same box as somebody right next to me. We could be the same age, same all this stuff, but that does not mean the solution for their problems are going to fix my problems.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I'm curious too, just to stay on that kind of same theme, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, what are some of like the limiting beliefs, right, that women show
Yeah.
up with? Like if I'm midlife or what have you, and I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I can't run. Like I could never run. Obviously, you
Right.
have vendors there to help them. Hey, let's
Mhm.
work with you through that. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like, what are the limiting beliefs maybe that you do here, just so someone's listening to this and they could use some
Yeah.
encouragement
Yeah.
or pointing them in that direction.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that there's going to be a solution for you. If there are some stumbling blocks that you're finding, whether it be, making sure that you walk X amount of steps a day, or I have to eat more protein, or that can just feel exhausting in and of itself. Just the idea of what you should do, should do, should do. But it's like, okay, let's take it baby steps at a time. And I think it can be so overwhelming. And I speak as a woman, as a mom, as a professional, that all of those things add up to, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. It's like, okay, let's take it one step at a day, one step at a time, one day at a time. Like let's just take the next right step, right?
Right.
And I think if you look at it as one day at a time is helpful. Because again, as a woman, it's easy to look at the big picture, look ahead. This is what I should be doing, and that can be discouraging at times. So just one of the things that I would try and do is give yourself grace.
Yeah.
And to know that if you have intentions of bettering yourself in one way or the other, you're already in a better spot than you were,
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if you have that intention, then you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, for sure. As
Yeah.
far as if we get into like different stages in life, like what obviously, there's going to be different questions and such. I'm just curious some of the themes, like when
Hmm.
you see like that, maybe not that you have to be younger to be an athlete, but I'm just, if I frame it up as like younger athlete versus like,
Hmm.
you know, working mom, kind of that perimenopause midlife versus
Hmm.
like menopause, kids in high school slash college or grown and gone.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can walk us through some of the demographic or the thought
Hmm.
process, or why would this group go there, like the
Yeah.
athlete versus the
Hmm.
midlife kind of versus later. Like, can you
Yeah.
walk through each one of those and just kind of talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm thinking about, so one of the things that I personally dealt with, so I was a soccer player through, played college, all of that. One of the things I dealt with was an eating disorder in high school, and I think for me, the reason that's where my heart goes for that age group is because
Yeah,
I can't even fathom where that eating disorder or mental health problem would have been if I would have had the exposure that girls do nowadays to social media, the comparison, this is what your body should look like. So that's kind of where my heart goes. And we have a lot of professionals there, but also just knowing that you're not alone, even if you're not seeking out professional help, but maybe you have those intruding thoughts, or maybe you just kind of feel like, well, my goodness, like when I was 10, my body was like this, and now all of a sudden I'm hitting puberty and I look like this and I'm slower. No, that's okay. Your body is doing what it should be doing. It just
yeah,
might look and feel different. So we really want to encourage those girls to know that their body's going to change, and that's good, and let it change because that's what it's supposed to do. So we kind of look at that for the athletes, as well as we do have an amazing woman, Lauren McKeegan, who's done a lot of research on NIL. So we will have a workshop there for her to kind of talk through parents and athletes and students to talk about what does it look like to pursue NIL, and also what will NIL do for you outside of sport. This could be kind of a career path. It doesn't mean that you're going to be an athlete your whole life.
right.
The percentage of pro athletes, very minimal, but what is this going to do for you from after college career path? So we do have kind of that focus there for that age. And then you're talking about the childbearing years, or the 20-year-olds kind of post-college childbearing. We have some amazing women. We have this woman, Mel, who's going to be talking kind of about that pregnancy, postpartum, life, and how you can make sure that you're taking care of your body from a nutrition standpoint.
Yeah,
She's just an amazing person that I'm really excited. So if you're kind of going through those childbearing years, your body again is ever changing.
sure.
And being a new mom, being a mom of multiples, I mean, it's a challenge. Just know that there's resources there for you. And then you're talking about the perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. And we have some girls going to speak on what does strong look like. Like
Right.
what does strong look like nowadays? So we've
Yeah.
got that on there. We've got some amazing women. Yumna, who is going to be talking about. She's an author of Feel Good Foodie, and she has a panel, and they're going to be talking about food that fuels women at all
Okay.
ages, but they are, kind of midlife. They're going to be really focusing in on fuel and what does healthy food look like, and how can you make that taste good and feel good. So we have that as well. And then kind of all throughout the scope, all of our vendors are very much, either looking at that support at a younger age all the way through postmenopause. And it is such a wide demographic, but we're so excited because that's what makes the expo and this whole thing really unique, is the fact that, yes, we might be creating this platform and maybe creating the stage for everybody, but these vendors and what you guys are doing and our partners, what you guys bring to the table is what makes the event, because
Yeah.
we don't have all the answers, and that's why we
Sure.
lean on you guys. And so for us, it's such a partnership. And that's what we're really excited about. And one of the things that is unique to this year is we are actually going to be bringing in, his name is Eric Westrom. He's going to be talking about Her First Hero, which is a book that he is currently writing. He's a former NHL player, former USA hockey player, and he has daughters. And one of the biggest things is we want to make sure that this event and this brand that we're building focuses on the women, yes, but also the support system for
Right.
those women.
Yep.
So he's going to be talking to the importance of dads to daughters, the importance of coaches to females, the importance of husbands. You know, it can go on. And I think they play such a pivotal and important role. I mean, you get it. You're a husband and a dad of girls. And
Right.
so he's going to really speak to that. And we're really excited because from the outside, it's like, oh, you have, you know, a male speaker coming to a women's event, but actually this is solely focused on the female. And it's
Yeah.
how can that role is so important in young girls' confidence, and you know how girls are coached different than boys, and that's just the reality and the makeup of who we are and who we're, you know, created to be. And that's, we want to support that because this is a female event, but also we encourage everyone to bring their support system for that purpose. So yeah, we're really excited.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I think if I go to the first group and I'm thinking about my girls, like, you know, being 10 and 13, um, there's a good book I read, and I'm really excited to can link up with that speaker that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I think the title is Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. But anyways, it talks about like how to speak truth into your daughter, how
Yeah.
to, you know, add value, how to, even the words we use, like as a dad, you know, oh, you're so pretty is,
Yeah.
you think you're doing good, and it's better than not saying it, but then explaining like what are the things, the qualities that add value to her as a human, not just
Right.
external factors. Like,
Exactly.
you know, and a lot of guys could be like, whatever, man, like, you know,
Yep.
but it's like, this is your daughter's,
Mm-hmm.
this is your
Mm-hmm.
child's like
Yep.
psyche, if you will, or like how they value themselves. It's so much impactful on how, what words you use to
Yeah.
communicate or describe them or support them. So I think
Yep.
that's fantastic that you have it. And it's a
Yeah.
great addition because, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's kind of we're constantly, you know, talking to our girls, and you know, the 13-year-old's getting to that stage where there's a little bit of stiff arming happening, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
but we
I
still got
remember
the
that.
door partially open. So I think we're making
Yeah.
some progress. But I was also going to mention, so my wife and I, she just recently retired coaching.
Okay.
She did it for over 20 years, but she was a varsity head coach for 9 years. She did men and women's swim teams, and how she coached them both, it was kind of interesting, was different to your point, but it was also like there's similarities in the problems that these
Mm-hmm.
high school kids are bringing to her, but there's also like you know, some nuance and differences, like social pressures. Like
Yep.
there was a young girl who, you know, she's her coach and didn't feel comfortable going to her parents, and it was related to that, you know, that time of life. People
Yep.
start looking at the other sex differently, and kind of
Yeah.
more like she had like the, you know, she's had many like the sex talks with a lot of her female
Yeah.
athletes, like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting this in coaching, but she was a little
Right.
further along in her career, so she was a little more equipped. But
Comfortable.
I
Yep.
think it's, I guess my point in that story is like, it's brilliant to like remind coaches the
Mm-hmm.
value they play, and
Yeah.
to really handle that with care. And if it's
Mm-hmm.
outside your scope or comfort level, partnering
Yeah.
with parents or administrators or whatever your, you know, your
Yeah.
support tools are, to give that youngster, you know, some sound advice and support without
Mm-hmm.
putting them on blast where they never trust you again or never trust other people again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest thing is realizing the influence that you might have on those athletes or students, or you know, if you're a youth group leader or whatever it looks like, a
Yep.
mentor. I mean, anybody. You think about how those young kids and athletes look up to adults or coaches. I mean, I still remember looking up to my coaches at that age, and you might not know it at the time, but some of those actions, the way that you handle certain situations, they can really stick with those kids. And so, not to say, oh my gosh, you're don't put so much pressure on yourself. It's like, I'm gonna screw this kid up. It's like, no, look at it as like, how can I better influence this child?
Right.
Clearly your wife was doing something right for her to feel comfortable enough to go to her.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, is like knowing that once they're able to talk with you and be open with you, I think you've already kind of won. It's just a matter of, like, to have her have that vulnerability that's not easy at that age, to have some girl open up. So, it's hard. And that's kind of why we're trying to shed light on it, is, hey, we don't have all the answers, but let's at least be aware that we are influencing.
Well, we both do a lot of work with FCA. It's Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And
partner. Yeah.
Actually, I'll have to connect you with my contact for that after this. But great guy. But yeah, there's a lot of, even if someone's family and they have a different faith or whatever, there's still just a lot of great tools and great eye-opening ways to look at interacting with people at that stage in life, which I think is critical. So it's great that that's also a value add in this organization. So, like, I'm a mom, I'm 40 years old, my kids are a little bit older. I don't really need this stuff, but then maybe they're maybe not thinking of their kids, or thinking of themselves. They show up and they can get some extra tools in their parenting toolbox as well, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, FCA is a great. They were a partner last year. They're a partner again this year. They're
okay.
Yeah, awesome organization.
Great.
Yeah, so absolutely, I can't wait for my kids to get old enough to participate.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
and I was thinking about, like, I don't really know if I haven't formulated a question on this yet, but as you were talking, I was processing, like, and a lot of this comes from my talking with my wife. So maybe it's a little too personal, anecdotal, what have you. So I'm painting with a broad brush here, but I've noticed, like, generally speaking, with women in the 35 to, I'll say 50, maybe I'm wrong on this, but let's say 35 to 50, 38 to 55, whatever range, their at home life, when their kids are in high school, middle, junior high school, maybe a little bit college, is way, way different than one generation ago. Meaning, like, if you just think of under the frame of women's sports, like, if you go back 40 years, there was a lot less even opportunity to partake in it. And then, like, my wife, she was a college athlete. So now she would go. I guess what I'm getting at is, I think it's great these type of events are there, because I don't know if they would have been around 40 years ago, because not a lot of women had the experience younger in playing sport, and now they want to get back into it and have some fun and be healthy and active.
Absolutely.
When past great grandparent generations, that wasn't the case. Again, there's some one-offs, I'm sure,
of course,
but I think as this continues to perpetuate, like I said, my daughters, like, at like 3 years old, they're getting involved in sport with the mindset that they're going to be playing it into adulthood. Where I would assume, go back 2 generations, maybe they got into the sport just to get them out of the house. Maybe, probably not, but maybe. They just let them play free range parenting, right? We just let them play in the streets instead. But there wasn't this thought of, like, oh, they're going to go maybe play college. Like, my 10-year-old, she's like, one of her goals is, like, I'd love to be a professional soccer player. We're like, okay, cool. Awesome. Like, well, and if you don't get that, we're going to keep our options open. But we talked to her about, how could you use that platform to help others? How could you be a leader in the community? How could you, we talk about, like, those things to her, not like, well, that'd be great if you signed a great deal with Nike. Mom and Dad,
which would be sweet, but
I'll be your manager for this company.
Exactly.
But it's more about, you know what I mean? Like, just
character building,
that approach, So I do think that as I'm thinking about this event, like, it's great timing, because I do think, like, if you look at historically, like, that shifted. And I know, like, even my wife, for example, she's 46, college athlete in 2 sports. So now at this stage in life, she doesn't just randomly go to the gym to work out. Like, she's like, wants to be, actually, she's shooting for saying this, she got injured a few times because went right back at it, like college athlete style. And I'm like, you gotta build back up. You had a baby, you didn't train for a little while, had some medical stuff where she was limited, to jump back in. injured her knee because it was like right back on the plyos and all that. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Oh
So,
my gosh, I think your wife and I would get along because I'm the same way. I'm like training like I'm back in college and just pushing my body, and I think it's kind of understanding that, and again, and kind of in the same breath of giving yourself grace. I'm not the same body I was when I was 20. But again, kind of that mindset. I mean, it's so true. You even think about the realization that osteoporosis was so big back in the day,
right.
and now you talk about it's about lifting weights and making sure your bones are healthy, and how that has declined and how that will just
Oh, yeah.
continue to decline because women, like you said, it was just totally different, and we're so excited to be growing with the just atmosphere of the community. Like, hey, we're in this together, and this isn't to just talk about just the women. It's let's talk about the girls, and obviously boys face stuff and men, and it's just all ever flowing.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic because like I can remember too, like out of college, getting into training. Um, I remember even the design of certain fitness floors was
Yeah.
like a bunch of cardio. It was all
Yeah.
carpeted, and then a
Right.
few machines that we knew women were going to use were
Yeah.
carpeted, and then there was this clear line of like, this is
Yeah.
where the sweaty dudes go, and
Yeah.
women, you stay here.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden towards like 2004, 2006, 2008, I start seeing more and more women cross over.
Mhm.
We used to call it the Mondo floor. That was like the type of flooring. Um, they would cross over the carpeted area and get into that floor. And you're like, hey, I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And you just kind of
Yeah.
keep seeing
Yeah.
that change. And now, like I've said this on many episodes, but I tell guys all the time, like, who you need to train like, right? They're like, who? I was like, women. I'm like, you don't train
I
your
love
glutes
that.
enough. You don't train your legs enough. Your lower back and core are weak
So
because
true.
if you do lift weights, you go in there and you're doing bench press and bicep curl. I was like, you're
Yeah.
so
It's so
unfunctional.
true. It's
Like,
like, no, looking at the whole body, like the women look at
yes.
the whole body. They're like, okay,
Well, and I'll admit, like I refer to it. It doesn't matter. It's just marketed this way, but I refer to it as like a woman's like, booty blasting program because like my glutes and
yeah.
hamstrings and lower back were the
Mhm.
strength and the stability in one of the sports I do. I could feel it wasn't keeping up with the other parts of my body I was training. So I like layered that in. I literally like took like blueprint
Yeah.
from a buddy of mine. I mean, he's pretty wicked smart. He's got a PhD in this stuff. So he had these designed for they were marketed towards women, but it's the same
Mhm.
biomechanics for men.
Right.
So
Right.
generally speaking,
Right.
and so I just like plugged that in and was getting great results. And that's why I'm like, you got to
You
do it.
guys got to
Like,
try this.
you got to do it. We're not talking like 1998 pink weights in the aerobics
Oh,
class.
for
Like,
sure. I
you know
can
what I mean?
visualize it right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like now we're talking like this is legitimate stuff, and the women are out training
Mhm.
men in most gyms that I
Yeah.
see,
Oh,
which
I
is
love it.
yeah, it's
Love
like,
it.
hey guys, we gotta step up.
Yeah. Right. Come on. Where's your booty workout?
Exactly. Well, and that's a whole. I'll get off on a tangent, but that's the whole
Oh, you're
rest day
fine.
and
Yeah.
reps in reserve, what guys talk about and all this. And there's some
Right.
validity from a performance standpoint, but then the women are like, "What's that?" Like, I'm just going to get after it.
Right. Yeah. What are you doing? No way.
So,
Oh. Mhm.
of course, I went on a tangent. Oh, I lost where I was, but
Oh, you're fine. We'll find our way back
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. But no, I mean, like I said, I'm really excited to with what
Yeah.
you guys are doing. I think the other part too is like a lot of times, and I'll let you say this because I've said it enough. I think on the podcast, but like
Mhm.
if there's a woman out there listening and they're like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's cool, but I'm too
Right.
old and
Yeah.
too stiff and whatever. I'm in my 50s, 60s, whatever. Like, I'm not going to go to that vendor. I'm not going to start exercising now. Like, what would you
Yep.
say to that woman out there?
I would say, I promise you will feel better once you start. It might be, like kind of once, if you were to put a pin in the day that you decided to start taking care of your body, you will look back and be like, wow, I
Yep.
wish I would have started that sooner. Even if
Yep.
it's little stuff. I'm not even saying you need to do anything crazy. I mean, it could be as simple as, getting some at home, you know, simple weights that you do during commercials,
Right.
or it's when Netflix says, are you still watching? Okay, maybe I
Right.
should probably start, maybe I should do something active. Like, just little things, like I said, just taking the next right step forward. Like, what does that look like?
Yep.
And And I would just really encourage, not only for your physical health, but your mental health.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. I mean, I'm a totally different person. Like even my coworkers and my husband will be like, Amy, you just really need to go work out, because
Yeah.
you can tell you're getting a little frustrated. And it's so true. I mean, there's science behind it. I'm not, medically versed in all that, but I just know that it does improve so much, that I don't, and I've heard this before, but like you never regret a workout, you
Right.
regret not doing a workout. So
Sure.
even if it's like for me and my coworker, we're tired after a long day of work and we don't really feel like working out. Okay, well then don't do something hard. Just do something simple. Even if it's going for a walk, even if it's, hey, you love doing legs, just do some legs just to get moving. I promise you, you won't regret it. And yeah, I would just say, I promise you, you will feel better if you continue to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I've said this stat too before, and it's it's tough when you have specifically men and women, but if we're talking women specifically, and that you care about, and they're not doing this, it can be I don't want to say frustrating, but you're just like, that it's headed in the wrong direction. You care about this person. So you're not judging them.
Yeah.
And my point in that is like the number one predictive indicator of assisted living or not is resistance training.
Mm.
I saw some studies on that in the early 2000s. Maybe there's an additional thing that's
Probably, right?
closely rivals it, but I definitely know that, the resistance training, even if it's like you said, bands, lighter weights, body weight,
Mhm.
something,
Yep.
just the strengthening that does to allow you in later years, not only the benefits current, but in later years,
Yep.
to be less risk for injury, better movement patterns, better ability
Mm.
to lift yourself up, pick up
Yep.
those groceries, get out of your car.
Yeah.
People
Like
don't realize like a side lunge is like getting out of your car. Like it's the
right.
same,
It's
same
simple stuff
movement.
like that. Or even like your shoulder, like getting your seatbelt. Like
Yeah.
if you want to stay independent, then you do have to use your body. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. And you really do have to move it. Yeah, I would just, yeah.
Yeah. It just, and just for those listening too, if you're one of
Mhm.
those people that doesn't really do it much, or you're not fully
Yeah.
convinced, like I would just to kind of lean in on a little more is, think of it this way, because I think a lot of women, I think as time goes on, this is getting more and more accepted, but a lot of them still think that I'm going to get bulky, or they think back to the bodybuilder type stuff. And I would always try to describe it to women back in my training days. I would just say, like, well, think of it this way, like, we're going to take a movement that you do, a movement pattern you do in a controlled environment, and we're going to ratchet up the intensity level so that you get really, really good at that intensity level. So that when you go back into everyday life, it's your body just naturally adapts. And like,
Mhm.
I'll never forget, I had this lady, she was probably early 70s, and it like one of her goals wasn't to look good in a bikini, right? So she's like,
Mhm.
I just want to be able to move better and like not fall
Yeah.
as much. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm 21, 22-year-old kid, like out of college. I'm like, what do you mean fall as much? And she
Right.
described it. Short of the long, it was the most, like, from a fitness standpoint, like it was an interesting program design, is what I would say. And we were
Mhm.
working on, like I said, like side lateral movements, like stepping on a
Mhm.
Bosu and rotating, like things that would simulate what she's gonna do in
Yep.
everyday life. Short along, we went, not because I'm some great trainer, I probably even forgot about it because I was a bonehead kid, but she comes to me in the spring and was like, "Hey, you know what happened?" I'm like, "Son got
Oh,
married?" Like, "What?"
yeah.
"I didn't fall." I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't fall?" She's like, "No, this is the first winter in years I didn't fall
Oh,
once."
that's awesome.
And I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Like, go do 5 more." She's
Right.
like, "Joe, do you realize," like, again, I was young and bonehead.
Of
Like,
course.
I
Yeah.
didn't
You're like,
register.
great.
It
Congrats.
just literally, like, blew
Yeah.
her life away, like, blew her mind at the result, and I'm thinking, like, "Yeah, cool, you didn't fall, like, we got work to do," you know?
Right. Right.
But it was
Right.
it was just that, that recognition that everyone has different goals or different stages in life, and
Yeah.
at the time, I was, competing in different, like, lifting sports, so although I felt like the program was good, like, my mindset wasn't right for her. In
Right.
hindsight, like, she would have done better probably with a better trainer that was more supportive in that respect, but I'm so happy the result was great, and she was able to
Well,
move
yeah.
better.
And it taught you something even, years later, you're still talking about it, thinking, okay, looking at it in a different lens. And I would say another way to kind of stay motivated, um, is to journal.
Yeah.
Honestly, after you work out, write down how you feel. Once you work out in the morning, how did I feel that morning drinking my coffee? Did you feel motivated? Did you feel excited? And then look back on that,
Yeah.
reference that time, be like, okay, do I want to feel that way again? Because you easily forget. You're gonna get back into the day to day. You're gonna forget about that feeling that you felt after the gym, after you challenged yourself a little bit, after you pushed yourself, the mental up, the physical up that you felt. And it's not easy for everybody.
Sure.
It does not come easy for everybody. And I would say that's kind of where you have to give yourself some grace, but really try and remember how you felt after and journal that down and remember, well, this is why I'm doing it. Maybe it's for your kids. Maybe it's for your grandkids. Maybe it's for your spouse. I mean, maybe it's for your parents. It could be anything, or just yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be for somebody else. But yeah, I would definitely say to write that stuff down and reference back to that if you ever are struggling.
I think that's a great tip. And to add to it, I will say, like, early in our marriage, my wife's always been supportive, but was more like, "Oh, you really got to go work out? Like, what's going?"
Mhm.
And now she's like, "Hey, by the way, we're on our trip. Here's where the gym is." Or
Yeah.
she's like, she's
Mhm.
pushed me out of the house, like, "Oh no, I'll help with the girls. I'll help with the girls." She just
Yeah.
her my daughters look at me, be like, I had the bright idea in my 40s to start jujitsu. So I'm like, she's like, "You need to go to class. You need to go get
Yeah.
choked by a bunch of guys so that you just chill out
Because
for the
you're going
rest
to
of
come
the day."
back. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
she's just like, my point is, even for women, like, have those conversations with, with your family. Like,
Yep.
hey, mom wants to do, like, and moms
Mhm.
are a lot, again, I'm speaking from personal experience, but I feel like there's a lot more like mom guilt than dad guilt to,
Yeah.
like, be healthy and fit and take
Mhm.
care of yourself.
Mhm.
But that's what we try to encourage my wife is, I'm just like, even my daughters, where it's like, "Hey, go do it, because like, we know you're gonna be around longer, you're gonna be a
Yep.
better version of yourself," all those
Mhm.
fun things. I mean, even
Mhm.
so much so with, like, recovery stuff. Like,
Yep.
early in our marriage, if she was getting a massage or something, like, "What do you mean get how much is that? You're gonna get a massage?"
Yeah.
Now I'm like, "Hey, do you got a massage booked this week?"
Yeah,
Or
exactly. Because
friend of ours close by
yeah.
has a chiropractic office. I'm like, "When are you going to see Dr. Matt?" I'm like, let's
Exactly.
get you back in
Well,
there where
it's all encompassing
once
and
you understand what it does
yeah.
to the other person is my point in that. And so I think communication is key too, and these
Yep.
events can
Mhm.
help, like, launch that conversation in the household. "Hey, I
Yeah.
went to this event. This is why. This is what mom's been thinking of," or
Mhm.
grandma, or whoever whatever they wherever they are in their life. So
And I think a big thing too is, even if you are single, or let's say you're empty nester, or you live by yourself or something like that, is finding someone to keep you accountable. Because I think it's really easy to talk ourselves out of things. But if you have somebody there that's kind of questioning, like, hey, don't you want to go to the gym this week? Or hey, let's go for a walk. Or hey, do you want me to do, some light weights with you, or whatever it is. I think that's really helpful, is to have somebody there with you so you don't feel so siloed. um, if you don't have a spouse, or something like that, that would be important, because doing things alone, and like I said, it's so easy to talk yourself out of it, like, not today, I don't feel like it.
right.
Which we've all been there. But try and find somebody that would, that you trust and feel comfortable with, and that can help push you.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I wanna do, speaking of kinda community and getting support, I'm gonna pull up a few things here, and
Yeah.
just for those on audio, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind, talking through, the website. Whoop,
Yeah.
wrong one, sorry. Let me see if I can stop share.
You're
I
good.
shared the wrong one. One moment here. Let's see here. We'll go to the entire screen. This is the one I want. There we go. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so
Yeah.
just for those on audio too, like, we have can you tell everybody about the website, where they can find out
Absolutely.
more about the expo?
Yeah, so our website is wshexpo.com. So our second year event, so this year, is February 21st at DeVos Place in Grand Rapids. And this year we're so excited to bring on ASICS as our presenting sponsor. They have so many amazing initiatives already that are focused on women and movement and overall health and being. So it was a really natural and exciting fit for us. So ASICS is going to be there with a big activation, and Gazelle Sports in Grand Rapids are they're not just in Grand Rapids, but they're going to help support that activation. So definitely want to give a huge thank you to them. Right now, we do have, so tickets are on sale. We do have early bird pricing right now through Feb 1. But otherwise, the price will increase through the month of February. It will increase in February, and then it will increase again on the weekend event. So on that Friday will be walk-up registration. But right now, I mean, the kids under 5 are free all the way through. We really want to encourage families. I've got 3 young boys, so for me, making sure that it's affordable for families with kiddos is important to us. Then we've got a youth ticket right now for $4, an adult for $10. And again, those will just increase a couple dollars.
Yeah, still very affordable though.
Yeah, because one of the things is, there's a small barrier of entry to get in, but we also want to encourage people to try and buy things there. That's why these vendors are here. So we really wanted to keep it as low as possible so that those attendees will feel more comfortable purchasing things and buying things that they find at the event. Right now we've got we're almost at 90 vendors. We've got about 85 vendors. We have so many interactive things. Like I said, in the morning, we'll actually be having morning miles with ASICS and Gazelle. You can either run, a 5K casually, or you could do a mile walk. You get free entry to the expo. We've just gotten so many amazing partners that it's hard to talk about all of them at once. But women are just, for lack of a better term, they're just badass. And so we want to highlight that through our social media, gotten some local spotlights there. We are just really proud of this. And again, it's not us, it's our community that is creating this. And it's been supported, and we've got some training videos and some local partners there, but really we're really excited. Keep watching our socials for updates, and we announced our speaker schedule, interactive schedule. Any questions, please just reach out. Check out our website. We've got a great community.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining the podcast today. We're excited. We'll get this out to everybody a little sooner than our normal release schedule, because I know the event is coming up very soon, which is, 21 days? Yeah, February 21st.
Yeah, we have a countdown in our office, so it scares me every day, but it's good. We're really excited. Yep, February 21st at DeVos Place. Doors open at 9 a.m. The morning miles will be at 8 a.m. Or 8:30, I believe, actually. Doors will close at 4. We'd love and encourage everyone to get out there, whether you're curious about staying fit, you are fit, you haven't worked out a day in your life and are just trying to seek some community and encouragement. We really want you there. So family friendly. It'll be a good time, promise.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and even those of you out there who are listening, of course, always, like, share, comment, subscribe to help the channel and help us bring on guests and give them the exposure. They're taking time out of their busy schedules to do this. But additionally, I would say give them a follow on Instagram, engage with them. Even if you're not able to make it to Michigan or the Grand Rapids area, it's a beautiful area. But you never know. I know Amy's been, talking about wanting to expand this. Who knows if there's a big interest somewhere, especially in February in a warmer climate. That would be pretty awesome. I think we would both agree. Darn, I got to go to
exactly
Florida for this event in February.
Exactly. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
We, as much as we do love the event, and it is nice because some of us are Michigan based, some not. We're flying some people up from the warmer weather to join us in the cold. But other than that, it'll still be a great experience. We're super pumped for it.
Yep. No, I appreciate that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Our social media is the same. It's wshexpo.com. You can message us. Our email's on there. Love to just kind of connect and hear your story if you're comfortable, and see what we can do for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining the episode, getting this information out there. And if
you're
in the area too, I was gonna say, if you're in the area, be sure to come say hi to not only Amy, but the First Optimal team. We're pumped, and we'll see everybody there. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you.
Thank you.